Hey guys, Theo here with the big review, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video, and today we have a ton of news because Netmarble has decided to go absolutely insane in 2021 with updates. So I don't sleep and all I do is make videos. So my name is Theo, this is the big review. If you guys haven't already done so, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a ton as a new YouTuber. So let's go ahead and talk about all these different updates that are going to be coming tonight. And yeah, it's quite a bit, and some of it's good, some of it's bad, and some of it I'm a bit confused on. So let's go ahead and walk through this, and then we'll kind of discuss it just a tad. But so, okay, first and foremost, this is going to be one of the very rare instances in the game where we'll probably not have a new FES going for a while. I don't know what's going on here. So they announced that there will be a new character, which we all assumed would be Athena 13, considering the fact that we've pretty much seen all of the usual signs of her being the next FES, from data mines to leaks for her banner info, even the in-game shop packages, and all those assets are in the game and the data, but they decided that instead of replacing Goro with a FES, they're going to just add a new gold border character. So interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look here. It looks like it's going to be Kasumi Todo. It's going to be the 2000 Kasumi to be exact. And she is going to be, it looks like, added into the unified banner as well as having her own roulette. So what's interesting about this is the fact that we already have a character on a roulette going right now, and that is 2000 Athena. So yeah, have fun with all of those ads, guys. Yeah, so Kasumi Todo, I do have a photo of her roulette that I will post here, and so there you go, that's what we're going to be getting, but I'm really confused as to what's going on with the FES situation. Are we just not going to have a FES for a while? Have they decided to start slowing down on FES and giving us a little bit of time in between banners? What's going on here? I don't know. This is really strange, but yeah, so there's going to be a new character. It's just not going to be a FES. So interesting. I mean, I'm not going to say I have a big issue with this, but it's one of those things where I do feel bad for Athena fans. Now, I will say that Athena fans have not been very happy about this being the new, or at least her FES version. They're not big fans of this design, and I mean, yeah, I get it. But this is just still a very bizarre turn of events to me, because we rarely have times where there isn't a rate up on the unified banner. So anyway, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. It could be that there's going to be a separate notification about her coming, but I doubt it at this point. It seems like this is pretty much going to be what we're going to get, so maybe it'll be next week that we get a new FES. Interesting. I don't know. But along with this roulette, we are also going to be getting you will see here a world drop event, and this is either going to make people happy or it's going to make people really mad. So the reason for that is going to come down to, we already have, and it just opened up, and we're going to talk about it later on after we cover this news, the SP shop for the New Year's event just opened up, as well as the SP part of the dungeon. So yeah, rest in peace to your AP and your time, because it's looking like you're going to have to grind World Drop and the SP dungeon at the exact same time. And I don't know why they decided to do this. This is a very bizarre turn of events to me, especially because they have talked about how they want to kind of ease the homework side of the game and make things a little less time-consuming on people, and then they go ahead and they release a World Drop event in the middle of a New Year's event with a dungeon that you have to grind. So it looks like this is going to be the usual fare for the World Drop event, where you will be able to grind your KoF, A, and S boxes, but I don't know why they decided to do that. That's weird. This entire thing seems to be bucking a lot of trends that they had set for quite a while, so this is interesting that all of this stuff is kind of sitting on top of each other. Yeah, very odd. But moving on here, we're going to kind of take a look. You'll see that you'll also be getting dice boxes, and that's because we're also going to be getting a New Year dice game. So the dice games are really cool. I have no issue with them. They're not very time consuming and they're kind of fun. So yeah, I mean, new dice game is a welcome thing. But yeah, so that is pretty much going to be that. There's going to be plenty of other stuff to talk about here, but as far as just kind of the different in-game events, that's pretty much going to be it. They did add, it looks like we're going to be getting increase to the item drops for the Soul Quest, as well as the XP dungeon, the Core dungeon, and the Gold dungeon are going to have reduced AP cost. So yeah, I mean, that's cool. It's always nice when you get extra souls from the Soul Quest. I typically would like to try and use that to get extra purple dust in the exchange shop so that I can get tokens. For those of you who didn't see my token collection yesterday, I definitely like to get as many of those tokens as I can and save those up so that I can pretty much go on summon sprees for free. But yeah, so that's pretty much going to be that. It's always nice to get the AP cost reduced, especially when you got all these different events going on, so that's nice too. But those are the big things for kind of the new events portion of this. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about the buffs to Orochi and Orochi Leona, because they went kind of all out on these two. So I figure that we'll cover this part next and we'll move on to the rest of this patch information, since this looks like it's going to be a pretty sizable update. But for those of you who have been overly excited for 97 Orochi to get his buffs, well, you are in luck. They are coming, and it looks like he is getting a lot of help. And on top of that, Orochi Leona is getting, yeah, she's getting a ton of help. So let's take a look at this. So Orochi was the one, for those of you who do not know, that won the recent vote by the fan base to get buffed. When they had asked everybody which fest they thought was deserving of buffs, he was the one that pretty much won in a landslide. And here we are, and his buffs are now in the game, or at least they will be as of the next maintenance. So looking at this here, it's looking pretty good for him. So you'll see first and foremost that all of his cooldowns have been reduced, which is a big deal considering the fact that his cooldowns were a big problem for him in the beginning to begin with. So this is definitely a welcome change for him, a big help towards making his kit viable. But you'll see all this red ink here, and yeah, so first and foremost on his S1 they increased the percentage of damage dealt with his S1 to 753%, and they also increases his attack by 28% for 7 seconds now. So yeah, a lot more damage coming out of him, which is always going to be helpful, but it only gets more nuts from here. So he now inflicts damage equal to 684% of his attack to an enemy on his S2. He increases his penetration by 1,000 for 7 seconds, and then he has a 100% chance to break the target's guard upon landing a skill. This obviously ignores the target's guard and disables their guard for 4 seconds. Oh man, yeah, he's gonna be something, isn't he? He's gonna be something. That alone is really good, but it only gets more ridiculous. So then we move on to his S3, which now inflicts damage equal to 701% of attack to an enemy. And of course this is his Hyper Armor skill. He now has a 50% chance to reset his cooldowns upon a successful attack on a cooldown of 17 seconds. Yeah, hello built-in Leah. Okay. So that's another thing. And then finally, for his cores, he now increases his active skill damage dealt to burned enemies by 50%. So yeah, it looks like he pretty much is going to be getting everything he needs. I'm curious to see if his skill animations are going to be buffed as well, in the sense that they are going to now be quicker and more easily cancelable into each other. If they are, then look for him to again be a problem in PvP. Again, with him, he's always been kind of... I don't know that he's ever going to be a massive help in PvE, although it'll be very interesting to see with all of this, because I could see him being a pretty decent one now. I'll have to wait and see and play around with him when these buffs happen. But overall, I'm going to wait to save my overall judgments for him until I see kind of him in action. Obviously, whenever this stuff is on paper, it's kind of tough to gauge, but just on paper looking at it, if I had to make a knee-jerk reaction, I would say that he looks very, very strong. Very strong. And yeah, we're going to obviously take a look at it in depth probably tomorrow after this update goes live, but this looks very good. Now moving on to Orochi Leona. Orochi Leona is a character that has been around forever and needed a ton of help, so I was curious to see what they were going to do for her, and they gave her quite a bit. So starting with her S1, she's going to decrease her damage received by 70% for 4 seconds, which is very good. She is kind of squishy, so that helps her out quite a bit. Her S2 is now going to increase her power charge rate by 70% for 10 seconds, and she's going to decrease the enemy's power charge rate for 70% upon landing a skill, which is very good. We've seen a very similar buff to this with recent buffs to characters, so not anything kind of earth-shattering as far as it being a new thing, but definitely a good effect to have. And then she now has a PvP exclusive that the target cannot activate buffs from active skills for 4 seconds upon landing a skill, so that is going to be very good in PvP. Although I will say I don't know how much of a PvP character overall she's going to end up being. She's never really been a huge PvP monster, but being that she has a 100% chance to ignore target's guard upon landing a successful attack on her kit with, I believe, her S1, her S1, I could see her definitely starting to gain momentum there, specifically because of some of these other things that she's getting. She's going to have super armor for 3 seconds when using a skill on her S3 now, which is definitely welcome. Again, she was kind of a squishy character and needed the help, and so that is definitely going to be a big boon for her. Wish it were hyper armor, but it is what it is there. And then finally, on her core effect, she's going to deal 3 times. She's going to recover HP by 3.7 of damage dealt and deal 3 times the target's remaining shock damage. Then remove the shock effect upon landing a critical hit on a cooldown of 3 seconds, which is a very, very tough way to say that she has shock explosion whenever she lands a critical hit on her cores. So that is big. Now she is going to be a shock explosion character that is going to be very beneficial for some of the dungeons, and overall I could see her definitely being something that you'll want to take a look at in PvE now as a result of this. We will see. Again, I will treat her the exact same way I will treat Orochi on this and say we'll take the wait and see approach. But overall, both of these are looking very, very good. I'm very happy with this for both of these characters. Time will tell if Orochi goes back to being very cancerous in the PvP meta, but yeah, both of them look like they are going to be getting some very nice buffs. So let's go ahead and move on to the next part of this update and finish this up, because man, there's a lot to cover. So the final part of this update, I saved this part for last because this is the part I'm going to spend the least amount of time on, and this is just something we can take a look at when the update comes out, because typically we don't get enough information from this stuff to really make it worth talking too much about until it's released, and also these packages really only pertain to one denomination of player in the player base, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this one, and we'll just talk about it whenever the update comes out. But there are going to be new packages in the shop as usual, and these look, I mean, they look like they're going to be pricey, and they look like they're going to be at least half decent, but doesn't look like anything out of the norm, anything that stands out here. It's pretty much the usual fare for when they do these types of things. They actually have been doing this with these buffs recently, where they're giving these packages where you can get pretty much a bunch of the memories for these buffed characters at a easy clip. So you'll see here that they're going to be getting a Remake Fighter Custom Package Part 3, and that's going to be for obviously 97 Orochi and 97 Orochi Leona, and that's going to give you some memories. It looks like you can get up to 3 memories for them respectively, so that'll be nice for those of you trying to build these characters. You'll also be able to get their card for their finisher, so yeah, it's looking pretty decent there. Those are usually kind of pricey, but the New Year Ruby package, you're going to get some rubies, and you'll get some Elite Enhancement hammers, so that looks like it's going to be, looks like just reading it here, this is going to be a login one, so yeah, you'll be able to get, it looks like 200 rubies a day, and those hammers daily, So I wonder how much that one's going to be. If that one's fairly cheap, then that's probably a pretty good deal, but we'll see. Again, I don't want to sit here and speculate on pricing on this stuff. We'll just take a look at it when it drops. But the New Year Memory Custom Package, looks like more rubies, some plus capsules, which you'll be able to get 300, which is nice, and they're selectors, so that's always nice. I bet you this is the $100 package, but we'll see. Fest Fighter Memory Selector, and then you're also going to be able to get up to 2 of the generic memories for the Fest characters, so this might actually be more of a $50 to $80 package, but again, we'll wait and see. The New Year Summon Token Package, this one is going to have 3,270 rubies, plus 1,000 more rubies, so it looks like you're going to be getting 4,270 rubies, and then it is going to have the KoF All-Star Fighter Summon Tokens times 5, and then the Battle Card Summon Tokens times 5. So, yeah, that one, bet you, that's your $100 one. That's going to be an expensive one. Then you have your New Year Plus Imprint Stone Essential Package. This one is going to be 3,270 rubies, yet again, plus another 1,000, so the same amount as the previous package. And then you are going to get a Burn and Darkness Attack Plus Imprint Stone Selection Box, a Shock Shield Attack Plus Imprint Stone Selection Box, a Bleed Poison Attack Plus Imprint Selection Box, a Power Gauge Circle Plus Imprint Selection Box, and Rare Enhancement Hammers times 100. So, yeah, another $100 package it looks like. Sure, we'll wait and see, but again, yeah, looks pricey. And then down here, you'll have the Platinum Set Card Custom Package, where you can choose one of the Platinum Set cards. You will get 21 rubies. I guess they're letting you buy the... Are they letting you buy the Platinum Set cards with rubies? Is that what we're looking at here? That's almost what this looks like. We'll see. But if you look at price, it says 2021 rubies for the Platinum Set card and for the Element Fest memory. So we'll see if that's what that's saying. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be that for the packages. We'll wait and see on these, but they're looking very expensive, but pretty decent overall. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead and move on to some of the other news for today, but we will definitely be covering all this whenever this update goes live after the maintenance. Do keep in mind, it looks like some of this is going to be going live before the reset, so we'll see what happens, but we'll make sure, like I said, to cover everything tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be another loaded news video tomorrow as we go ahead and cover these things live as they get added to the game, but we got more topics to go over today. Let's go ahead and transition over to the SP dungeon for the New Year's event and talk about that, as well as the SP shop that was just opened up last night. So as you can see here, the New Year's SP stage has opened, so definitely it's time to start using your AP on this and farming it up. This was pretty much just at reset. As you'll see here, these are going to be the New Year's characters and cards that you will be able to put on your team to farm this and get extra currency. But if you go ahead and take a look at the shop here, this is the shop that we talked about in a previous video. Not anything here too crazy. This Mai is half decent as a striker for her burn damage, so you'll use her in typically things like the guild raid and things of that nature. You'll be able to get her memory, so on and so forth. You'll see that we also have the Fest memory selection boxes for the generic memories, which is always nice, so you'll be able to get some of those if you need those. Looks like I'm running a little low on red there, but then if you take a look, you also have the gold ones. You have capsules, which we pretty much knew all this. Like I said, we've covered this in a previous video. The other thing that is worth getting in this is going to be this card, because this is going to be good for your gold farming teams. So for those of you who may or may not have missed out on this originally, it is in here, so make sure you pick that up as well. But yeah, overall, pretty decent. It's not the best shop that we've ever had, but it's pretty good. I would say that you definitely will want to try and get the card, and at least if you don't have this Mai, make sure you get her, and then maybe if you want to, just focus on getting the daily capsules and some of that other stuff in there, because you don't really need to build that Mai up for too much. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be that for the All-Star news for today. Like I said, tomorrow we'll cover all the updates, but let's go ahead and take a look at some KoF proper news, and that is going to be the fact that Pix and Love Publishing has announced that they are doing an Ultimate Edition for physical copies for KoF 14. So we knew that there was going to be a physical edition for KoF 14, but we didn't really know how it was going to work. For those of you who do not know, the Ultimate Edition is going to have all of your DLC as well as some themes for your PlayStation 4. The digital version is already available, but they are saying that this physical version is going to be available sometime in the spring. As of right now, there is no pre-orders open and no official release date slated for this, but some of these look really, really cool for those of you who are unaware of who Pix and Love is or the work that they do. If you are familiar with at all limited run games here in the States, this is a French company that does pretty much the same types of products, and their products are always high quality. They always look really, really good. We'll take a look at their website briefly here, but first I want to go ahead and take a look at these special editions because there's a lot to go over here. So you'll see here, this is going to be the normal version of the game. So this is going to be kind of your standard edition that's going to come with the game, and then all of the DLC with none of the bells and whistles. But it has some pretty nice new art on it. We've seen this art in the past already, but this looks really good. I'm very excited to try and pick up one of these. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick up the regular collector's edition or if I'm going to pick this one up. I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting to kind of see price. I have a general idea of what we're going to be looking at with pricing, but I don't want to make any kind of assumptions until we have some form of confirmation. But again, when we take a look at their website, you can almost glean from that kind of what the pricing is going to look like for these. But that's going to be your regular edition. Not as exciting though as the special editions that we are going to be taking a look at here. So these are going to be your special editions, and it's going to give you a breakdown of both of them. But first and foremost, the kind of standard collector's edition with the official Neo Geo case, which is basically just a shock case, is going to be limited to 2,000 copies, and then the deluxe edition with the limited case is going to be 200 copies. And yeah, the extras that you're going to get in here are very nice, and we'll break those down. But as you can see here, we have new art for the deluxe edition that looks really nice there with Kyo. And yeah, everything here looks really good. I'm very excited for these. I like shock cases. They kind of are a nice throwback for those of us who are old enough to remember shock cases and kind of what those were like. You know, these are kind of a nice little throwback to that era, but these look really good. So let's go ahead and take a look at what you get with these packages. So we'll start with the collector's edition, and I tried to blow up the information there so you guys can kind of see, but it's going to include the game obviously, and then it's going to have a reversible cover, an official Neo Geo case, which is the shock case. It's going to have an 80-page art book, 7 lithographs, and the soundtrack with Digifile. So the soundtrack for KoF 14, whether you like the game or not, was phenomenal. So that's really cool. Lithographs are always nice. It looks like you can see a couple of them there. And then that art book is probably, I would assume, kind of similar to the art book that we got with the original collector's edition for KoF 14. So that'll be nice to have. Those are always well done. But being that Pix and Love does really good work with this stuff, I would assume that these are going to turn out to look really nice. But yeah, as you can see here, you're definitely getting some nice extras with these, and yeah, they look really, really good. But where it really starts to shine is with the deluxe edition, because this deluxe edition has some really cool stuff in it. So you'll see here that this is going to be your deluxe edition, and it is going to have all the same stuff that we just talked about, but also it's going to have a large format painting painted on canvas. It looks like it's a 31 by 23 canvas print, and it's going to have a certificate of authenticity signed by the artist, which, if you are not aware, is going to be Ogura-san, which he is the one who pretty much does all the nice art that you see with the franchise. So this looks really cool. Again, it comes with all of the things that we were getting with the other version of this collector's edition as well. So basically, for what is probably going to equate to an extra couple $100, you can get this canvas print. I would say that this one is only going to be for the most diehard of diehards. That's a lot of money. And I'm basing that on kind of the pricing going on with some of their other editions that are similar to this. If you look at those, then you know that they are pretty pricey if you kind of convert the currency over. But you'll see here, this is their website, and this kind of gives you an idea of what they do. I'll leave the links in the description for these, but this is kind of what you're looking at with their products, and as far as pricing goes, again, it's all going to be in euros, because this is a French company, but they do ship internationally, so you can pick any of this stuff up. As you'll see here, they have the Garou Collector's Edition there, which is very, very similar to the Limited Run, pretty much the exact same thing, which makes me wonder if Limited Run is going to be handling the shipping for this stuff, as well as the manufacturing here in the States. I'm almost certain that that's probably going to end up getting announced at some point. I would have a hard time believing that we wouldn't be getting an official version of this here in the States from Limited Run. For those of you who are not aware of who Limited Run is a very similar company. They do very high quality collector's editions. Like I said, that Garou special edition was available on here for a very brief period of time because it sold out extremely quickly. And yeah, they do really nice work. It's a bit on the pricier side because these are premium versions of these games, but yeah. So overall, this is exciting. I definitely am looking forward to trying to pick one of these up. I'm definitely not going to be spending $300 and something on a collector's edition for this game, but, you know, if one of those other versions is cheap enough, I might consider it. But that's pretty much going to be today's video, guys. The last bit of news that I really want to share with you guys, and then we'll kind of call it a video, is going to be, if you missed it when we talked about it here on the channel, KoF 13 has been available on Xbox Games with Gold for free for the past few weeks, and it will be expiring here soon, so make sure you pick that up. But that is going to be it for me, guys. I'm going to let you guys go. Make sure, if you haven't already done so, like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow with all these updates, and we'll break it all down. See you later. Peace.
Continue.